The 15th complaint landed on HR Director Patricia Hawthorne's desk at 4:47 p.m. on a Thursday, just as I was wrapping up my analysis of our quarterly projections. Through the glass walls of the conference room, I watched Patricia's face cycle through confusion, irritation, and finally, grim determination as she read it. Isabella Torres doesn't represent our company values, the complaint read. Her appearance is unprofessional and distracting. We deserve better leadership than someone who shops at Goodwill. I knew because I'd seen Bradley compose it at his desk, making sure others could see his screen, making sure they'd add their signatures to the growing petition to have me removed from the senior analyst position I'd earned through 6 years of 80-hour weeks and breakthrough strategies that had saved Prometheus Tech Corp millions. My name is Isabella Torres, and I wear thrift store clothing by choice, not necessity. This is the story of how a $12 blazer from Salvation Army exposed the rot at the heart of a billion-dollar company, my billion-dollar company. The meeting invitation appeared in my inbox at 5:15 p.m. Urgent, professional standards review. Conference room tomorrow 9 a.m., no details, but I didn't need them. The whispers had been growing louder all week, ever since the announcement that our CEO was retiring and the board would be selecting his replacement from within. That night, I stood in my walk-in closet, a closet that could have held a small car, but instead contained 7 thrift store outfits, all carefully maintained but deliberately modest. Hidden behind a false panel were my other clothes, designer pieces worth more than most people's cars, gifts from fashion houses hoping to dress the mysterious majority shareholder of Prometheus Tech. They'd been hanging there, untouched, for 3 years. I selected tomorrow's outfit with care. A brown polyester suit from the 1980s that I'd bought for $15, comfortable flats with visible wear on the soles, and a cotton blouse with a small, barely noticeable stain on the collar that I'd never bothered to remove. Perfect. The next morning, conference room A was packed. Patricia sat at the head of the table, flanked by 2 other HR representatives. Across from them, like a jury of my peers, sat the 15 complainants. Bradley Mitchell, our supposed star sales director. Jennifer Cross, the CFO's assistant who spent more on her nails than I spent on my entire wardrobe. Marcus Stone, who'd been passed over for my position and never forgiven me, and 12 others, all wearing their ambition and entitlement like designer armor. Isabella, Patricia began, her voice carefully neutral. We've received multiple complaints about your professional presentation. In a company that values excellence and image. 15 complaints, Jennifer interrupted, her fresh manicure tapping against her iPad. All documented with photos. She turned the screen toward me, showing pictures taken secretly over the past months. Me in my thrift store blazers, my comfortable flats, my simple cotton blouses. They'd been cataloging my appearance like evidence in a criminal trial. Your appearance reflects on all of us, Bradley added, his Tom Ford suit immaculate as always. Clients notice. The board notices. Will you show up to meetings looking like? He gestured vaguely at my outfit. It undermines our credibility. Our top competitors dress for success. Marcus chimed in. Meanwhile, our senior analyst looks like she raided a discount bin from 1987. A few people laughed. Patricia didn't. The employee handbook clearly states that professional appearance is mandatory. Jennifer continued, reading from her screen. Employees should present themselves in a manner that reflects positively on Prometheus Tech Corp's reputation and values. And what are those values? I asked quietly, speaking for the first time. Excellence. Innovation. Success. Bradley rattled off, none of which are communicated by. He waved at my brown suit again. Whatever this is supposed to be. Patricia shifted uncomfortably. Isabella, while your work has been adequate, we need to consider the full package when it comes to senior positions. The CEO role especially requires someone who embodies our corporate image. Someone who looks the part, Jennifer added with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. We've actually taken the liberty of creating a presentation about appropriate professional dress, if you'd like some guidance. That won't be necessary, I said, pulling out my phone. Patricia, before we continue, could you please check file 001 in the confidential shareholder records? The one marked with the highest security clearance. Patricia frowned. I don't see what that has to do with. Please, it's relevant. She pulled out her laptop, typing in multiple passwords to access the most restricted files. The room grew quiet except for the click of her keyboard. Then she stopped. The color drained from her face so quickly I thought she might faint. This can't be right," she whispered. "What?" Bradley demanded. "What does a shareholder file have to do with her terrible fashion sense?" Patricia turned her laptop screen toward the room, her hands shaking. Isabella Torres owns 67% of Prometheus Tech Corp. The silence that followed was absolute. Jennifer's iPad slipped from her fingers, clattering on the conference table. Marcus's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Bradley stood up so fast his chair rolled backward into the wall. "That's impossible," he stammered. "The majority shareholder is some reclusive investor named Git Holdings." "Isabella Torres Holdings," I corrected, standing slowly. "Established 7 years ago when I used my inheritance from my grandmother, a woman who cleaned houses for 50 years, to buy into a struggling tech startup that showed promise. That startup became Prometheus Tech." "But you're just an analyst." Jennifer's voice cracked. "You take the bus to work. You bring lunch in Tupperware. You shop at thrift stores." "All true," I agreed. "I take the bus because I believe in reducing my carbon footprint. I bring lunch because I enjoy cooking. And I shop at thrift stores because I believe in sustainability and because." I smoothed down my brown polyester blazer. I wanted to know who at this company values work over wardrobe, substance over style. Patricia was scrolling through the file, her expression growing more horrified. You've been the majority shareholder this entire time? For 3 years? 4, actually. I promoted myself from junior analyst to senior through proper channels, never using my ownership to influence it. Every promotion I've received has been based solely on merit. Can everyone in this room say the same?" I looked pointedly at Bradley, who'd gotten his position after his father made a sizable investment, and Jennifer, who'd been promoted after her varied public affair with the previous CFO. "Why?" Marcus asked, bewildered. "Why hide it? Why dress like someone who can't afford designer clothes?" I finished, "Because I wanted to see the true character of the people I work with. And you've all shown me exactly who you are." I pulled out a folder from my bag, my $8 thrift store bag that Jennifer had photographed and mocked in the break room last week. "Bradley, you've been using the company credit card for personal expenses, $47,000 in the last 6 months. Jennifer, you've been selling insider information to our competitors. Marcus, you've been sabotaging projects to make your colleagues look bad. How do you? When you own 67% of a company, you have access to everything. Every email, every transaction, every security footage of you all gathering in the break room to laugh at my clothes while I was saving this company from bankruptcy with my strategies." I turned to Patricia. I was going to wait until Monday to do this properly, but since we're all here discussing professional standards, I pulled out another document. "Effective immediately, Bradley Mitchell, Jennifer Cross, and Marcus Stone are terminated for cause. Security is already waiting outside to escort you out." "You can't do this," Bradley shouted. "The board. The board reports to me," I said simply. "I am the board, essentially. And the new CEO? That would also be me. The announcement will go out Monday." Jennifer was crying, her perfectly applied makeup running in streams. "This isn't fair. We didn't know." "Exactly," I interrupted. "You didn't know. You saw a woman in cheap clothes and assumed she was less than you. Worth less than you. You created a hostile work environment based on appearance, tried to destroy someone's career because they didn't meet your shallow standards. Security entered, 3 guards who'd always been kind to me, who'd never cared that I wore the same shoes every day. They looked almost pleased as they approached my tormentors." "Wait," Marcus pleaded. "Please, I have a family, a mortgage." "You should have thought of that before you submitted 7 of those 15 complaints," I replied. "Before you told the entire sales team that I probably couldn't afford to join the company Christmas party." As they were escorted out, Patricia remained frozen in her chair. "Miss Torres, I don't know what to say. I should have investigated better. I should have." "You should have shut down workplace bullying the first time it was reported," I said. "Not waited until it reached 15 complaints to act. But you didn't want to rock the boat with Bradley and his connections, did you?" She nodded miserably. "You have 2 choices, Patricia. resign quietly with a standard severance package, or stay and help me rebuild this company's culture from the ground up, starting with a new employee handbook that judges performance, not appearance. Stay, she said immediately. Please, let me help fix this. I studied her for a moment, then nodded. Send a company-wide email. Monday, 9 a.m., all hands meeting. The new CEO wants to discuss the future of Prometheus Tech. That weekend, my phone exploded with messages. The news had leaked. It always does, and suddenly everyone wanted to be my friend. Bradley sent 17 apology texts. Jennifer tried to connect on LinkedIn with a message about how she'd always admired my work ethic. Marcus left a voicemail sobbing about second chances. I ignored them all, spending my Saturday at my favorite thrift store where Martha, the elderly volunteer who'd been saving special pieces for me for years, had set aside a perfect 1960s Chanel suit. Someone donated this yesterday, she said, eyes twinkling. Said she was upgrading her wardrobe now that she got some big promotion. Can you believe someone would give away real Chanel? I recognized the suit immediately. Jennifer had worn it to last year's company gala, bragging about its authenticity. I'll take it, I said, handing over $30. It's perfect for Monday. Monday morning, I stood before the entire company wearing Jennifer's donated Chanel suit, though no one but Patricia knew its origin. The whispers started immediately about my clothes, my position, the firing of 3-star employees. Good morning, I began, my voice carrying across the packed auditorium. I'm Isabella Torres, your new CEO and majority shareholder of Prometheus Tech. For the past 4 years, I've worked among you, not as your owner, but as your colleague. I've heard your honest opinions, witnessed your true characters, and learned exactly what kind of company we really are beneath the polished surface. I clicked to the first slide of my presentation, a photo of my grandmother, Maria Torres, in her cleaning uniform. This is my grandmother. She cleaned offices like this one for 50 years, saved every penny, and left me an inheritance that I used to buy this company. She taught me that true worth isn't in what you wear, but in how you work. That respect should be earned through actions, not demanded through designer labels. The room was silent. Effective immediately, Prometheus Tech is implementing new policies. Dress code is now simply clean and appropriate. Promotions will be based solely on documented performance metrics. Any complaint about a colleague's appearance that doesn't involve actual hygiene or safety issues will result in immediate disciplinary action for the complainant. I clicked to the next slide, the company's profits over my 4 years, showing the direct correlation between my strategies and our success. While you were judging my wardrobe, I was increasing our profits by 400%. While you were taking photos of my thrift store finds, I was securing contracts worth billions. While you were trying to get me fired for not looking the part, I was ensuring you all had jobs to come to. Someone started clapping, then another. Soon most of the auditorium was applauding, though I noticed the fashion-conscious clique in the corner remained silent, their faces pale. Going forward, I continued, Prometheus Tech will be a company that values innovation over image, results over reputation, and character over clothing. Anyone who can't adapt to that culture is welcome to seek employment elsewhere. After the meeting, a young intern approached me nervously. Ms. Torres? I just wanted to say, thank you. I've been eating 1 meal a day to afford clothes that would fit in here. Now maybe I can just focus on doing good work. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Not the hiding, not the deception, but the revelation. The great unmasking that showed everyone who they really were when they thought no one important was watching. Patricia found me in my new office, the CEO's suite I'd never visited during my years of hiding. The board wants to know if you'll be changing your wardrobe now that you're public, she said carefully. I looked down at my thrift store Chanel, thought about the designer pieces hidden in my closet, then shook my head. Why would I? These clothes got me here. They showed me who to trust, who to promote, and who to fire. They're worth more than any designer label. Jennifer's suit looks good on you, Patricia said with a small smile. It does, doesn't it? Turns out it only cost me $30 to look like CEO material. Though I think I looked like CEO material at $15 too. The only people who couldn't see it were the ones blinded by their own bias. That night, I called my grandmother's sister, the only family I had left. Maija, she said when I told her everything. Your grandmother would be so proud. She always said the rich folks never saw her, just her uniform. Now you show men what happens when they don't see people. 6 months later, Prometheus Tech was featured on the cover of Fortune magazine. The headline read, "The $12 blazer that built a billion-dollar empire." The article detailed our transformation into one of the most progressive, profitable tech companies in the world. Bradley works at a startup now, in a minor role. His LinkedIn still lists Prometheus Tech prominently, though he lasted less than a year. Jennifer became a fashion blogger, though her credibility took a hit when the story of her donated channel suit went viral. Marcus? He sent me a thank you letter last month. Being fired forced him to confront his toxic behavior, get therapy, and ultimately become a better person. And me? I still shop at thrift stores. I still take the bus when I can. I still bring my lunch in Tupperware. The only difference is now everyone knows that the woman in the $15 blazer signs their paychecks. Last week, a new employee stopped me in the hallway. "Miss Torres, I just wanted you to know, your story inspired me to apply here. A company that values work over wardrobe is exactly where I want to be." She was wearing a thrift store suit. I recognized the label, Salvation Army on 5th Street, where Martha still saves the good pieces for people who appreciate them. "Welcome to Prometheus Tech," I said. "You're going to do great things here." And I meant it, because in a company where appearance doesn't determine your value, anything is possible. Even becoming a billionaire in a $12 blazer.